Hey everybody, welcome to the Broom Vlog. My name is Carson, and as you can see there, we were co-chairing. My dad and I were co-chairing event number 5 at South Paddock. And what I think is the coolest part about that is we got to design the course. And so just real quick here before we jump into a fun video that I have to break down for you on a couple of my dad's runs. Um, this is the prototype course design that I promised, and as you can see here, it has a front straight that rivals PIR itself, and with the uh, kind recommendations of Dan and our safety coordinators, this course design was immediately scrapped. And so my goal here was to make the fastest course possible at South Paddock. But anybody who's ran South Paddock would know, with the surface in the condition that it is, and the bumps and undulations, you could say, this would probably destroy a lot of cars and probably a lot of my friendships that I've made in autocross. And so I did, if we click through here, I did try and convince Dan, well, what if we just put a kink in the middle of the front straight and tighten up the ending a little bit? Is that still going to fly? And he said, no way. And so I thought it would have been cool to go through that double box and have a fast course, but also a long course with the option slalom at the end there. But that it just really wasn't in the cards for this venue. Um, Perhaps once South Paddock gets repaved, it'll be a lot better. It's pretty limited as far as what you can do there. And so we ended up settling on this is a course that my dad and I kind of designed together. And so it was a collaboration, and this is the course that we ended up with, um, starting at the roadside of South Paddock and right around into the Chicago box, a loop into an option slalom, and then a reverse Chicago box. And this, I wanted one cone out there to make you really choose your line as you're getting into the sweeper, and then come back through some gates to the finish. And so this is what was settled on, very close, at least with minor tweaks for safety. This is what we ended up with. And so let's jump right into it here. I do want to show you the results because basically, congrats again to Blake. He's definitely catching up with me. He won both events this weekend, and you can see there the twins, Spencer and Dominic, likely appreciated the faster course design that we came up with for South Paddock. And so I ended up 4th there, not too shabby, and what I wanted to talk about in regards to these times throughout the day, it speaks to the video that we're about to watch here, comparing my dad's runs. And so if you're somebody that constantly improves throughout the day, and in most cases all of us do, really, but if it's huge improvements throughout the day, we can see here my dad's first run to his last competition run, his 3rd run, he shaved almost 3 seconds, 2.8 seconds there. And then even more so from um, his 3rd run to his 6th run, he shaved another 1.3 or 1.2 off of there. So he shaved 4 seconds over the course of the day. Penalties aside, he was improving on every single run that he made, which is awesome. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be getting faster and faster. However, of course, you want these runs here towards the end. You want to be able to go fast in the beginning on your first 3 runs. And my challenge to folks who are seeing, constant gains throughout the day, 1.5 seconds first to second run, another 1.3 second to third run, that type of thing. If you're seeing that throughout the day, even following into your fun runs, your 5th and 6th runs, you're still shaving quite a bit of time. I would challenge you to try and overdrive the car on your first run. Try and find the limit, because what's happening here, compared with somebody who's getting those quick times on run 2 or run 3. Um, we can see here my second run was dirty, but I did improve from first to second run about 1.3 seconds or so. But that 34.8 on my second run, I was chasing that throughout the day. I didn't, the next 3 runs, couldn't find it again, couldn't find it again, couldn't find it again. And finally on my sixth run, I found it again and got a 34.6. So if you're if you're constantly improving on each run throughout the day, um, it can be a sign that you're not finding the limit fast enough. You're not finding whether that's the limits of your driving or the limits of the car. You want to be more aggressive early. And I would challenge people strategy-wise. Of course, with autocross, you get your first 3 runs are your competition runs, the ones that count. If this is something that is typical for your performance, try, strategy-wise, try, just writing off your first run, just chalk it up to finding the limit and go out there and be as aggressive as you can. Stay on the throttle a touch longer into the corner, get on the throttle, off the brake and a touch sooner, exiting the corner and back on the throttle. See if it's really going to push the car wide out of a corner like you think it will, or see if the tires are going to hold. And this, I guess this may be difficult for dual drivers or single drivers if your tires are cold, but you definitely, especially if you have cold tires, you definitely want to be finding the limit right out of the gates on your first run. And then it may open your eyes to a couple sections. Wow, I could really go faster there than I thought. And if you do overdrive it and cone, don't worry about it. It's your first run. You can dial it back on your second and third run to fine tune it for a good finish. And I would say, say you cone right out of the first section of a course on the first run, definitely keep hammering down and keep going like you are treating it like a clean run, essentially, that you can learn on. People have different views about this, but they call them corner workers for a reason. And so, if maybe if it's your fun runs and you're out there coning every corner, that's a different story. But on your competition runs, don't worry about it. I mean, if you get 2 more cones on your first run that you already coned on, it's a chance to find the limit there and then fine tune it on runs 2 and 3. And so with that, let's jump right into the video. This is my dad's first run compared to his 6th run, and the cool thing about this is that I divided the course up into 4 sections. I pause it at 4 different times throughout the course, and then we catch up the video to the other run, to his fast run, and so you can really see where those seconds are coming from. And I'll pause it along the way, and then we can play the first run and see where it catches up to the 6th. So here we go.
Okay.
Paused it there in the Chicago box, and I tried to get it right when he was parallel with the Chicago box on his 6th run. And so he got a great launch on the 6th run, probably a little bit better than his first, and also carried that straight, went through that straight, carried more throttle through that straight into the Chicago box. And so how this is going to work, you'll see here, I'm just going to play. It'll catch up. This was about a second here. This is a second difference right here. And it'll catch up to his 6th run and pause for a second just so you can see what that difference is. And then it'll play the next section. The next section goes through a roundabout here to the right. It does a full loop back through this box. Okay, and maybe he got a little bit better line, and it was really just carrying more speed, trusting the tires through that full roundabout loop that he did. It was pretty much a 360 to get into this slalom, this option slalom, and that was another second. Looking at the video roughly in the video editor, this is another second difference. We can see on the sixth run at the bottom, he's almost exiting the box that's in front of him on the first run. And so this third section is the longest and the most amount of time. Basically, he drives the slalom and it goes out left into that reverse Chicago box and into the sweeper around to the right. So he was very conservative in the slalom and especially the slalom exit on that first run, and that was one pointer I gave him on the fun runs. But it's that area between features, getting out of the slalom and into the Chicago box. There was a lot of ground that he made up there on his sixth run. And so this accounted for 2 seconds. We'll see it catch up here between the slalom, the exit of the slalom, and the entry of this sweeper. Good thing is he's looking the right direction. He's looking where he wants to go, and we'll watch it catch up here. And then the final section is quite close, about a tenth of a second faster on his sixth run for the final. So it didn't account for the whole course, but most of it he did find time throughout the pretty much the whole course. 2 seconds there. So that was about a tenth of a second difference at the end.
Yeah.
That 35 was in me, huh?
Yeah.
So that's a quick breakdown of basically, by the end of the day, he was a lot more aggressive everywhere, and it began to pay off for him by the end of the day. He was only, let's see here if I can look at the results again real quick. I'll just do this live. See if he could have got that time in his competition runs, 35.7 by the end of the day. He was 0.3 off of my fastest time by the end of the day. If he would have done a 35.7, would have definitely bumped him up a few spots there. Could have had, a sixth place or closer to a top 5. But that is all that I have for now. I appreciate you guys watching. Here is the championship results for the season. I'm looking forward to event number 6 next weekend in Packwood. I know the twins are as well. But Blake has definitely closed the gap on me. He's only 4 points behind me on the season, and so it's going to be awesome. Definitely got to bring it. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.